Welcome to another edition of the Sports Report. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. And today it is the Barnes, Tony, Matthew, and Renee.
Oh, Matthew and Renee. Renee, peek over to the camera.
Oh, Matthew will be here momentarily. Oh. Michael in the vicinity. And just what a weekend it was, and how good it is, Tony and Matthew and Renee, to be back here. The week hiatus, as Michael chimes in.
Speaking of in the vicinity,
talking about Daniel Manning and the full crew, baby. I'll be there in spirit.
Aww.
So we appreciate that, of course. But yeah, it is just so nice to be back. It feels like, there's so much to talk about. How are you, Matthew?
I'm good, dude. There's my mic on? There it is.
Yeah, you got it?
Testing.
Can you hear yourself? Is your headphone too loud?
3, 4. No, perfect. Everything's perfect.
Perfect.
Did perfect. Barnes is back. Bro, I'm good, dude. It's great to be here. This is my last day of vacation from school, of winter break. So I couldn't picture a better way to start this day and end the break, dude. Here on the Sports Board, Barnes is back. Tony's here. Tony, I was telling Mike last night, you guys killed it, bro, this week. I loved watching you guys, bro.
Thanks, guys.
It was fun being it, dude. I was here, as Michael is right now, here in spirit, while Tony and Mike were holding it down here in the stew, and it was just a fun time.
Dude, it was honestly
a fun time.
A
I
lot
enjoyed
of fun
going back and forth.
It was so much fun. Yeah, we had some good back and forths. I think we had the most NBA talk we've had ever.
You're right.
With Michael and stuff. So it was a great time, dude.
Which wasn't even that much. So that goes there. That just shows you something.
Right.
NBA sucks. I mean, there's just so much going on.
Well, it's just Brian. LeBron's losing. Brian doesn't want to talk about that.
But that honestly, it really isn't.
Where you losing?
And also, too, I would say, once we get towards the stretch run playoffs, I think it'll be a little exciting. Right now, there's just too much important stuff going on in the world that there just really isn't time.
The NBA,
for
there's no time for the NBA.
There really is no time.
Why don't you tell the people where you've been, Brian? How about that?
I have been.
Yeah,
in the
some people might think you were like in jail or something. Would prefer
island of Jamaica. Great week.
Wow.
Me and Sam on the Hyatt Ziva in Zilara Roseville Resort.
Dude.
So 80 degrees, sunny every day.
Look
forward to the trip every year and just had a great time for sure.
Is Jamaica a yearly tradition? Is it one of those?
It's rotating, but it was our second time there. Last year we were in Puerto Vallarta. Next year's trip is in Cabo.
Really?
Cabo!
Is it already booked? Is it already planned?
Yeah. They said it like a year in advance, so they announced that.
Barnes, it's so nice. You guys, it's you and Sam. You got going away.
I don't know why
Hawaii.
It seemed like it was fading out.
Yeah, you gotta just don't hit that XLR cable on the mic.
XLR cable on the mic?
Yeah, that like
the one two.
Extra large.
Like don't do what Renee was
extra large radius cable. That's what I'm XLR.
But yeah, no, we had a great time, and we really do look forward to it every year. So enjoyed that. Just a little nippy now, but I'm sure I'll get used to it as
get over
it,
a
little, dude.
As the days go on.
Tony loves this. Is Tony's favorite.
It really is ridiculous.
Favorite type of weather for Tony.
If we could just bring in Renee for a second.
Give it up for Tony.
Renee, do you enjoy any part of the cold or no?
Here, wait. Well, I don't want to touch the XLR.
I like.
Speaking to the mic.
I like skiing in the cold. Other than that,
there's no need. There's no reason to be freezing unless you're skiing.
I don't mind the snow, but when it's blistering cold wind, that gets me.
Okay. Yeah. The wind chill.
The cold weather sucks.
Is real. It's like,
you suck ass.
I want to be golfing. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be stuck inside. But we are overdue to play basketball, by the way, fellas.
Oh yeah, nice indoor game. I think would be nice.
Also, too, just for the audience, this thing on my neck is not what you probably think. It's cupping, dude. It's cupping. It's a tactical self-myofascial release strategy, Tony.
So I
thought it was
not full of shit.
What you think it is?
Oh man. Oh, man.
That's funny.
And then the one thing too, because I didn't really get to talk to Tony about this, and I know you guys saw in the group chat quickly. But the great trip, and it just had to be at the end, of course, with the baggage, JFK, the failure of JFK Airport,
So
trying to act all tough, on Twitter, saying, "Oh, message us," no answer out of them, even after.
Oh, you messaged them, no answer? What?
No answer. And it's like, listen, I understand it's a busy airport, a lot of travelers, but there's no way. When you get off a plane, it's not like normally with a domestic flight, you get off the plane, right to baggage claim. This is, you have to wait in line for customs to go see the officer, all of that stuff.
Did you see the officer? Did you see the
know
officer?
what I mean? So that takes 15, 20 minutes. And then still after that, we had to wait almost an hour for the bags to come off the carousel. That is ridiculous. There was a renovation there not too long ago. I don't know how you let that happen, but everyone was pissed. And the guy next to me had a connecting flight that he missed. There's just the excuses and the lack of accountability in this day's society. It really is scary. It really is. But also, that's why I don't like check bags. I don't know about you guys, but it's just like I'll carry it. I'll carry it. It's
man.
It's too annoying. It's too annoying.
It is too annoying.
So I have my trip's coming up soon to go to Florida for Fecco's wedding. Yeah, but I basically have to take 2 bags, dude. So I'm gonna have to check one. It's tough.
What airline you flying?
2 duffel Delta or JetBlue. Who did JetBlue buy though? American, right? They bought American.
No, they're
Airlines.
just they're partners
or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I'm pretty sure the physical plane itself is JetBlue both ways. So
okay.
I'm leaving out of Westchester.
Nice, dude.
To go down on the 1st.
That's an easy trip.
And right here, and then flying into JFK on the way home out of Miami.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Should have got you
one.
Huh? Sorry.
And I have to say though,
Tony's
the actual flight itself, both ways, excellent.
Dude, it's hazelnut.
JetBlue just gives you so many options. The DirecTV,
love
the
JetBlue,
full
dude. Love
Showtime,
JetBlue.
HBO, the movies. I mean, it's
We'll
unbelievable.
Read a book, Brian. How about that?
They'll have a little sponsorship with Downtime one day. Tony, what do you say?
Oh, definitely.
This portion of the Sports Report brought to you by JetBlue. Brian Barnaby's Travels.
I'm just curious. What about you, Tony? Are you a JetBlue guy?
I've flown, JetBlue a few times, and it's enjoyable. I remember being a kid and flying American and getting those little wings to pin.
Yeah, they don't do that.
So they don't do that
because they're cheap.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
What a bunch of horse shit,
they definitely
dude.
went down a few notches in my books. I would say JetBlue's up there for me. I've flown Delta a couple times. They're okay.
But JetBlue,
how
about
JetBlue
Spirit?
So much better, dude.
But you know why? Because JetBlue.
I haven't done Spirit.
JetBlue is
done
consistent. Alaskan is great.
No.
No. Well, you just went on the wrong plane. But anyway, JetBlue is great because it's consistent every time. The other airlines, not all of them have monitors. Not all of them have the same, assortment of entertainment. JetBlue is the same thing every single flight. And
Right.
Honestly, I've flown to Ireland a few times on Aer Lingus.
Yeah.
They're top notch over there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with them.
Big planes.
What's it called?
Aer Lingus.
Where are their headquarters?
Aer
What
Lingus?
year were they founded?
Ireland. Oh, I have no idea.
Oh.
Ireland. Really? Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's why. Yeah.
Okay. I've heard of them. I definitely have heard of them. But
Barnes,
Aer Lingus, dude.
Any European destination in your and Sam's yearly tradition of travel?
Any
European?
not right now. I'm sure eventually.
Dublin airports.
Italy and Greece, but
You gotta go, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
you go to Italy, bro. You're gonna come back 25 pounds heavier, dude. No, I'm just kidding.
But
You won't though, because it's all good food.
Wow, dude.
1936. It just the only thing I have to say, like, I definitely want to go there. I'm just concerned slightly because I do feel like a big part of the European experience is the tours, the history. And
you got to set all that up.
I can't do it. I don't know. I don't want to be on a tour. Yeah.
Free of any timely agenda.
Yeah.
Couple comments. Michael says you shouldn't learn from Meet the Parents. Oh my god, dude!
We were just talking about Meet the Parents last night.
Ben Stiller walks so we can fly.
Very good, very good there, Michael.
My mom's checking in saying hi, fellas.
Hello, Mary. Hey, Mary.
Very good there. But yeah, traveling's the best, so we always look forward.
Dude, I really enjoy traveling. I mean, obviously, you have a tough experience with losing your baggage. But I think going to airports and going through the whole process and getting on a plane,
you like that. You enjoy that.
But I'm surprised though,
you like
because
that.
I thought you
like the cold weather.
I thought you're more with the Michael. You want a 20-hour road trip, like, because that's what you guys always talk about. Road trip.
Yeah, I enjoy road trips as well. I can do it. What? I mean, well, what are we talking about here? Like, what
I'm
do you
saying,
mean?
what do
Like,
you enjoy more? You said you enjoy the process of going to the airport, being in the airport, going on a plane.
Or would
So
you
do you
rather do
enjoy
a road
that
trip
more
to
or a road trip?
said destination? Depends where the destination is.
So
That's what I was
you're
gonna say.
asking me if I enjoy the process of getting on an airplane and the flight versus the process of being in a road trip or on
Yes.
a road trip.
Just the traveling.
just the
part,
traveling
not, like,
part.
The vacation, of course.
That's a good question. Honestly,
He's gonna say road trip. That's my gut.
I think I'm gonna go road trip too because
If I know Tony,
I mean, I obviously, like I said, I enjoy the flights and everything, but a few years ago, this is probably more than a few years ago, my cousin got married, who lives in Nebraska.
Mhm.
So my parents and I road tripped over, stopped in Cleveland on the way there, Chicago on the way back. And it was like,
wow, dude.
I mean, it's obviously, I think it was 14 hours to Cleveland and then like another 10
not
to
to
Nebraska.
dive too much off the subject, but what did you think about Cleveland? Were you there long enough to kind of form an opinion?
It's actually funny. At the time when I got there, it was when LeBron just left the Cavs, and they like literally we drive in and they are literally taking down that banner, that big ass.
No
banner.
shit, you saw that?
Yeah, we saw it.
Oh, that's awesome. Dude.
But I think we got in and it was like it's a shit city, dude.
Yeah.
And we were in the nice area, and there was still like at night there's just like hookers and shit walking around.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy over there. I spent a couple nights there a few years ago.
Yeah.
On doing that BMW thing. Barnes, remember when I was doing that Beamer thing?
No, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But we did see where the Browns play. That stadium's dope. It's in the water and shit.
Yeah, I feel like there are certain areas.
It's next to where the Cavs play, right?
It is, yeah. And there's certain areas where it's like literally there's no point in going there unless you're going to go to a game. Other than that, why are you going there?
So
or if you have a wedding, obviously.
I think I told you, Barnes, we went to the Indians game.
Yeah.
It was dope. They played Toronto. Toronto, dude, that was one. So it was 2016. So Toronto had Encarnacion and Joey Bats. They had Bautista and they had Tulowitzki, bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
And Donaldson.
That stuff is cool, but yeah, just random trips. Those are tough. That's for sure. Just there's not enough going on.
So I'll say this about the trips because having one coming up, I enjoy the plane and everything like that, and like that whole process, like Tony was alluding to. But at the same time, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think it was somewhat of a definite pain in the ass, dude. Like just to. But then again, too, it is pretty easy getting on the plane with the ticket downloaded on your phone. Just bop, bop, bop.
They make it easy for you. It
is easy. It is easy.
I have to say, I just can't enjoy 10 hours in a car. I just cannot. That is not fun.
Nah, bro. If the road trip is set up right,
it's too much. Though.
It is
like
fun.
A 2-hour drive, sure. A 3-hour drive, but not a 10-hour drive.
Farthest road trip
no
for me
is
Florida.
Yeah.
Never
Barnes,
you can do no. We can do it.
Done
we are going to do it.
We are going to do it.
No.
We are going to do it.
I will meet you guys there, dude. I'm not driving.
Tony, your mother said Chicago was awesome. Mary, I agree. I love Chicago.
You know what?
Dude,
Chicago is my second favorite city behind New
York. Awesome.
The one thing I'll give you,
Chicago.
Tony, playoff series against the Sabres, we can make a road trip to Buffalo, but that's it. That's the furthest I'll go.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
Done.
Stay home, Brian.
Okay.
So when we go to Rochester, Barnes, you're not going to come?
How far is Rochester?
It's the same thing as Buffalo. Same 5.5, 6
No,
and a
because
half
Buffalo
hours.
is 9. I think Rochester's a little.
No, Buffalo's not
Rochester's
9.
6. Buffalo's not 9.
8?
Buffalo's like 7 or 8.
We did it. It was like 6.5, maybe.
All right.
Yeah, it's not. It's
While,
right next
I'm
to
gonna
Rochester.
look it up, but while we're doing that, let's go to the world of the National Football League.
6 for 101, 2 touchdowns. To Evans, touchdown, Tampa Bay. How about that throw? Sam Darnold blasted. Oh my goodness, did he take a hit? In trouble, Watts brings him down. Lost one for Odell Beckham Jr. Got it down, touchdown.
All right, a couple quick things here before we get started. 6 hours, 19 minutes. So
Okay,
you
so-
got me there.
Yeah,
Easy.
same shit.
Seems a little more manageable, Tony.
Manning.
And I believe your mother says that traveling on the road, I forgot the exact comment.
It's nice to see America
It's
from
nice
the
to see
road.
America from the road. That
Yeah.
I want to get that printed on a T-shirt.
That's a great. Yeah, that is. That's a good saying.
It's nice to see America from the road.
Yeah.
Remember that.
You know what it
Kids.
is too, fellas? I think, honestly, I probably lead the way in 10-plus hour road trips because growing up, we drove to Myrtle Beach in Florida every year. And I don't have anything left for those long.
That was long ago,
traffic.
Barnes. You've been replenished at this point.
Replenished.
You
but
have
it's
it
like-
in you,
But if
dude.
we're going somewhere, I'm excited to go there.
Tony almost takes a header.
But you know what I mean? If we're going somewhere, I'm excited. Okay, let's do the 2-hour
Mhm.
flight to Florida. We're done.
Right.
I don't need to be in a car. Like, it doesn't add to the experience. It
all
just
right,
doesn't.
well, then
it just doesn't.
That's
for
your
me.
prerogative, dude.
So that's the first thing. The second thing, obviously, now getting to the wildcard weekend, we'll go in order. I know everybody's excited to talk about.
Oh, you want to go in
the
order?
Giants, but we'll talk
Finally,
about
dude.
We'll
the
go in order.
two
dude.
games.
Big
on
win for the Giants.
Saturday, as we're talking about Saturday. So the Niners and the Seahawks. Okay, this was
Bang.
a close game.
Yeah.
At the half. I mean, obviously, Niners jump out to that 10-0 lead in the first quarter, but the Seahawks answer back with 17 of their own in the second. So it was 17-16 Seahawks, going into the half. So you figured in this one, wow, like, maybe they could pull the upset. This is a close game. This is why Seattle had so much success earlier in the year. But second half of this game, I mean, they almost get shut out, only scoring 6 points, a touchdown in garbage time. And once again, Brock Purdy stepping up in the big moment, not playing like a rookie who was the last pick in the draft. 18 of 30, 332, 3 scores, running the ball like they have successfully all year. McCaffrey had 119 on the ground. Also caught a couple passes. And, Debo, of course, another big game, 6 catches, 133 in a score. And then you think about what the defense did. 3 stacks of Geno Smith, had the interception. They've been the top defense in the league all year. So all in all, 41-23 Seahawks. This was an impressive win, and division games are always tough. We saw with some of the games yesterday, but it's hard not to be impressed with what the 49ers are doing, and it just really doesn't think like how do they have even a nemesis, especially in the NFC? I don't think anybody can touch them. I really don't. I'm just curious what you guys think after this win. I mean, do you think it's going to be kind of smooth sailing to the Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers?
I'll tell you what. So I think the main thing the Niners shows is probably the most complete team in the whole league, both sides of in all 3 phases. And they're just unstoppable looking at this
Purdy.
Purdy, dude. I mean, unbelievable. 332
Mr.
yards.
Mr. Who? What's his name?
Mr. Irrelevant.
Purdy.
No, Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant, dude. 3
Yeah.
touchdowns and no picks. And then, dude, McCaffrey 119 yards on the ground,
dude. He was kind of like, after those injuries, he was never going to be big. And he's the best ball he's played.
Yeah, it really is.
Going to the Niners, he certainly has resurgence.
Kyle Shanahan
sure.
just puts guys, in the right positions.
And they get, dude. Okay, so coaching, you seeing it with the Niners clearly having their third string quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, a rookie, third string comes in. They're not missing a beat. And then the other where you see coaching matters, the other example is the Giants, which we'll get to. But I'm just saying, coaching does matter. Like, for anybody that doesn't think that coaching matters or doesn't matter, whatever, that these guys just kind of do it. No way, dude. It's clearly with the Niners and the Giants are 2 prime examples that show you how coaching and scheme, right, Barnes, and
Skiing.
dude, skiing, going downhill.
Yes.
95
Do you think
miles an hour.
Pete Carroll got out coached? Like, you think that's how?
I think he doesn't. He didn't have the horses.
Yeah,
I
he
know.
didn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
They have Metcalf, they have Lockett. Geno played well, but
Niners
the San
have more
Francisco,
talent.
The defense, the running game, and the way Brock Purdy's playing. Brock Purdy is playing as good as any quarterback in the whole league.
He's better than Zach Wilson.
It can't be understated.
Easily.
So I think they just ran into a buzzsaw. Do I think they could have beat Minnesota? Do I think they even could have beat the Giants? I do. So I think it was just a bad matchup on their part. But the San Francisco 49ers, I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing it, are going to the Super Bowl. And I have to ask you, Tony, because I know you're not easily impressed. Are you impressed with the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy?
Yeah, I would say mostly Brock Purdy, honestly. Because you expect McCaffrey to do well. You expect Debo to have the game that he did too. But Brock Purdy to come in here, like playoffs.
I'm just chilling, man. It's like
literally, dude.
Jay watching the Jets
Yeah, like
game.
Jay watching the Jets game if they're doing well. Yeah. If there's someone in the game,
Do you expect them to make the Super Bowl?
I mean, at this point, like when you think about it, yeah, right?
I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be biased or anything when I say that. I'm not trying to like go this way, but I really do think that the only team that kind of stands in their way it could be the Giants. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, more so than the Eagles. Obviously, I know the Giants and the Eagles are going to play. We'll get to that this week. But just in the terms of, like, Giants have nothing to lose and Niners kind of have everything to lose. The team I could see them running up against and not getting past is the Giants. But that's who even knows if we'll get that. But I'm just throwing that out there.
And
it would be a giant
and
thing
it's funny
to
too
happen.
because these Niners teams in the past when they've reached the big game, defense has been the calling card, but I think offensively they're as good as they've ever been, and they've had different quarterbacks going in and out. You think about Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick.
What about the weapons they
Jimmy
have on
Garoppolo,
offense? The Niners.
And the thing is, they don't even use George Kittle all the time, and I think George Kittle is amazing, and it doesn't show in the stat line, but he's laying great blocks, every play. Dude. He's a really good all-around player. And then D'Amico Ryans, he'll probably get a head coaching job. He's done a good job as defensive coordinator. He was the former linebacker for the Texans. So I'm impressed with the Niners. I don't think they can be stopped. We'll see what happens in the division round, but a great way to start this playoffs here. And Kyle Shanahan and the Niners back in the driver's seat year in and year out. Since he's taken over this team, they're pretty much always in the conversation. And this is impressive stuff. And it's the first year he's done it without Jimmy Garoppolo, because usually Garoppolo gets injured, then they fall off. Right. But Brock Purdy's shown he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Which
Clearly,
is really
he's the future, dude. They thought, they drafted Trey Lance.
Yeah, so bad.
Yeah. No, dude, it's crazy, dude. Purdy's gonna be the starter when Jimmy G leaves, and then Lance is gonna be the backup.
Yeah. But it's nice because they don't have tons of money committed to them, so there's no rush to trade them. You let Jimmy G just go, and you're set.
I also think too, the Niners, the weapons they have are insane, bro. They're loaded on the offensive side of the ball. The great defense too. I mean, they got Nick Bosa on that side of the ball.
Even Elijah Mitchell, the second-year running back, is really good. He could be the starter.
Unbelievable, dude. Offensively, I mean, dude, Debo, Ayuk, Jennings,
Ayuk
Kittle,
is really good.
McCaffrey. Dude, Debo, love Debo, bro. So I'm glad the Jets didn't trade that 10th pick for him because it wound up being Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson. Yeah.
I mean, it would have, either way,
right,
would have been dope. But I mean, dude, Debo's special, man. He's something else.
And I do think it's compliments to Kyle Shanahan. Like I said, I think he recognizes talent and he puts it in the best position. Dude. That's what you're seeing with Purdy. That's what you're seeing the rest of the guys. So, congratulations to them there.
Brian, they go on to play the winner of Cowboys Bucks, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So basically, they're gonna play the Bucks.
You would think. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, but they are set up well.
Seattle, real quick though, DK Metcalf, I would say, dude, performed 2 touchdowns, 136 yards. They just, the Niners just overall just way better.
Yeah, and I think too, a little better offensive line play, a little better defense, and Seattle will be in the mix next year.
Even
Geno's a free agent. You'd expect him to come back. He broke Russell Wilson's yardage record this year.
So crazy.
What a year for them. You have to give them credit. Everyone
you mean Mr. Unlimited? Is that who you mean?
Everyone had them as a 4 or 5 win team. So to do what they did, congratulations to them as well. Pete Carroll with a great coaching job, and they played hard all season.
Coach of the year candidate, Barnes.
Faltering off down the stretch. I think there's too many other good guys.
Candidate like in the conversation. I wouldn't give it to him,
but there's
in the combo.
In the combo, definitely.
It's Dable
I
for
think
sure.
It'll fall up short, but
who is it,
congratulations,
Brian Dable of the New York Giants, Tony. Giants.
And
the Giants.
Right. I would say the most shocking result of the weekend here, the late game on Saturday.
Dude,
much maligned call. Everyone's like ripping on Al Michaels, but that's
really.
They wasn't excited enough. Like
never,
blah, blah,
dude.
blah.
He's not.
I don't know.
He's not. He's brutal.
Touchdown. Whoa, wow.
I don't know. Everybody's saying that, but I don't agree. But on to what happened on the field. I cannot believe. I mean, I know the Chargers, they disappoint us year in and year out, but to be up 27-0, couple minutes left in the first half, they let Trevor Lawrence drive down the field, and this is after they had 3 interceptions in the first half, 4 overall, and they blow a 27-0 lead, a 27-7 halftime lead. Jacksonville could not be stopped in the second half. I mean, Trevor Lawrence did a really good job, and he really featured former Giant tight end Evan Ingram, 7 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. But he had 4 different receivers for touchdowns: Ingram, Kirk, Jones, and Marvin Jones Jr. So that was just really impressive stuff. I couldn't believe that this Charger offense stalled out 3 points in the second half with Justin Herbert. That's unexcusable. And I know, some of the coaching decisions, made by Brandon Staley. But of course, they lose on that field goal at the end of the game by Riley Patterson from 36 yards out. And the Chargers had missed a field goal too. So you think about that. Maybe it's a different game. But I just think a completely wasted season. There's so much talent on this team. The defense is great. We know what Herbert can do. We know what Eckler can do. Of course, the loss of Mike Williams in that meaningless Week 18 game was big. But I think there's no excuse here to blow that type of lead against a team like Jacksonville that's hot right now, but you had him where you needed to be. You couldn't finish, and we'll see what happens. A lot of chatter about Brandon Staley. This was only his second year, first year in the playoffs for the Chargers, about being gone and Sean Payton coming in. To maximize what they have there on offense. If I were the Chargers, I would say the time is now, because I can't envision any other situation where Brandon Staley letting him go is this huge mistake, and he's this phenomenal coach. I just don't see it happening. So I think based off this loss and some of the stuff he's done in his 2 years as coach, I would let him go. You don't want to waste the prime of Justin Herbert.
They're ready to win right now.
This loss is unacceptable. I'm just curious what you guys think there. You think time for Staley to go?
I don't know. You said this is his second year, right, Barnes? Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, you can't pin it all on him at the end of the day. I mean, the players are the ones that have to stop that comeback from happening. But I mean, to blow a lead like that, I mean, that was historic. That was the biggest. I think it's the biggest lead in playoff history, right? That was blown.
I
believe. I do believe.
20-point lead. I do believe
that.
27.
Yeah. So just insane. What I will say too, give credit to Jacksonville. I mean, dude, Trevor Lawrence, they look like they were cooked in the first half, bro. 4 picks.
Right.
Yeah, I can't believe that, dude.
And but Doug Peterson, bro, he's been there before, won a Super Bowl with Philly a few years back. Knows how to coach, dude. Knows how to coach. They probably, they made a few adjustments. They on the defensive side of the ball, they kept the Chargers in check, dude. Especially Eckler, dude. He only had 35 yards on the ground. He had 2 touchdowns, but I mean, dude, they held him to 35 yards. And the Chargers, man, they should have won this game. And I agree with you 100%, Barnes. They're ready to win right now. Herbert's sick. Just once again, another quarterback the Jets could have had in Herbert, but no, draft some other shithead.
I mean, and it's Herbert, but it's also, the other offensive skill guys, and the defense is great. You think about Joey Bosa, you think about Derwin James, Khalil Mack. You got playmakers,
and they brought Khalil Mack in this year, dude, to bolster that defense, dude, to get them through.
And then how about
have this not happen to advance?
This gets completely mislooked, but Asante Samuel had 3 picks in this game. That obviously the son of the former Eagle and Patriot cornerback, but they're loaded. And I understand you're saying, the players play the game. I guess the one thing I would say is I look at it and I know obviously they didn't make this move and it's different, but I compare it with the Yankees with Boone, and it's like, oh, the players play the game. But at the end of the day, do we not want our best foot forward?
Of course,
someone
dude,
who has
of course.
Brandon Staley, there's no downside to getting rid of him, and it's not like he's an offensive coach. So just get Sean Payton in there. Sean Payton, I guess, wants to go there.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does make so much more sense.
A lot of sense. Because they're a young team, dude. He's got Herbert. Herbert is essentially could be another Drew Brees, dude.
Right.
Yeah, literally.
So this could be Sean Payton and Drew Brees 2.0.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of insane.
You don't want to waste the talent on this team. And one thing, too, you have to give props to Jacksonville. They'll play in Kansas City next week. But just Doug Peterson, it's like the same thing with Kyle Shanahan. They have talent there. Doug Peterson knows how to put those players in the best positions to win. You think about Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, even Zay Jones. On their previous teams, they weren't put in the best position to win. But now on Jacksonville, they look like real players, real weapons. Yep. Every Giant fan hated Evan Ingram. And now he's like, well, you can line him up as wide receiver. He can play tight end. And then what he does with Travis Etienne. Remember first week of the season, we're thinking, oh, this guy's a disaster.
You thought that.
Etienne, 109 yards on Saturday, dude.
Etienne special. So
he
I
busted
think
one for
Jacksonville
25.
has a bright future.
Yep,
and I'm telling you right now,
dude.
they're not going to be able to be down 27-0 to Kansas City and come back. I think it could get ugly, but that shouldn't deter them. The future is bright in Jacksonville. I think that's the main point.
No doubt.
Here for sure. So that was the second game on Saturday. Moving on to Sunday, we had the triple header and the first game between the Bills and the Dolphins. And I have to say, the final score of this one really, really surprised me. Obviously the Dolphins with a 3rd string quarterback Really were in this game after the first quarter. They're down, I believe it was 17-0. They come back to tie it at the half, which was just or right before half. I know the Bills ran out on the field and kicked that field goal to make it 20-17, but they hung in there all game. And I think the reason why, other than, they had some turnovers, that's the thing. Josh Allen, I've talked about this all year, another 2 interceptions in this one, and they also sacked him 7 times. So great effort on the part of the Dolphins for sure. And then, with these turnovers, when they had the short field, they were able to take advantage. But I think the thing at the end of the day that really held them back was having Skylar Thompson back there. I mean, 18 of 45, 220, 2 interceptions, was sacked 4 times.
Yeah.
I think they win this game with Tua. I mean, we saw them play them close in the regular season. And for the Bills and Allen, I think they're good, but I just think Allen, he took too many sacks in this one, 7 sacks, and he didn't run the ball the way he's done. He only had 20 rushing yards. And then the interceptions, and it's something that's kind of, developed this year. He wasn't throwing as many interceptions last year. So I think that's what hurt him. And that's why this game was close, but I think you have to give props to Miami. Buffalo has to feel good that they snuck away with this one, but next week when they're playing the Bengals, if they play like this, the Bengals are going to beat them. So I'm just kind of curious what you guys think here. Is there reason for concern, despite a 13-3 record in the regular season, are the Bills maybe a little overrated here after barely squeaking by the Dolphins with a 3rd-string quarterback?
I don't know. I don't think they're overrated necessarily. I just think Josh Allen maybe just didn't have a great game. You mentioned the interceptions. I think he only has, I want to say it's like 12, maybe 14 on,
I think
on the
14,
season.
which is that's near the league leaders.
A little high.
Yeah.
A little high for
That's
a
too
guy
high.
of Josh Allen's caliber.
I would say compared to last year, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like, in this game, if Josh Allen, obviously if he performs better, if he doesn't throw 2 picks, if he runs the ball like he normally does, I mean, it's not really much of a game, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't think I'm really that concerned about it. And I think Josh Allen's the type of person who we've seen to be very adaptable, and kind of learning from previous mistakes and coming out, the following week, like a better quarterback, So I think he's going to learn from this game here. And I'm sure the fact that, Thompson was starting for Miami was in the heads of the Buffalo Bills as well. So I would
overlook yourself.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think they probably weren't like full pedal to the metal, kind of like what Tony's alluding to. But I think this is honestly kind of just a case of a team having another team's number.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 3 games they played, including yesterday, all close games. I mean, Miami beat the Bills in the beginning of the year. And the Bills barely beat them right
in
before
Buffalo.
Christmas. The first week that Saturday games came back in Buffalo. So I just think it was, this year we just happened to see the Dolphins kind of having the Bills number and just, just playing close games, no matter who the starting quarterback is on the Dolphins side, because Josh Allen was able to start, the 3 times that they played. But, dude, shocked that the Dolphins were even in this like they were. I thought the Bills were going to absolutely smoke them, especially because the Dolphins have their 3rd-string quarterback in there. But yeah, no, I think definitely, Buffalo too, maybe, who knows, a little bit, emotionally tired from the whole Damar Hamlin situation and dealing with that the last few weeks. But on the flip side of that too, you would think that would kind of like spark them and, pull away and be able to just, keep piling on, points and just, coming up with defensive stops. But then again, it's not easy, it's easier said than done for sure. But no, I think Josh Allen, kind of uncharacteristic game for him, 23 of 39, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. So I think we'll just see him get better as they go on. Who knows how far they go, but I would expect him to play a little bit better, more efficient against Cincinnati next week. But I mean, they look good offensively. Diggs has 114 yards. Gabe Davis, 113 yards receiving for those guys. But yeah, man, I mean, Miami, give them credit. They certainly had the Bills fans, on the end of their seats for sure. And
yeah,
I mean, it was funny because my family up in Rochester, who we just saw, huge Bills fans. So my dad was like texting my aunt and my cousin back and forth. They were like freaking out. But the better team won. The team you expected to win won.
that's true.
Miami, give them credit, like I said, but glad they're going home. Not the biggest Miami guy.
It's too bad.
But yeah, so Bills move on, but they do look beatable. Buffalo
they
does
do
look
look
beatable.
beatable.
They don't look like they're good. They don't look like a team that's gonna just roll through everybody in their way all the way to the Super Bowl,
which is a shame.
But I do think too, because I'm the one that, like, I initially brought this up about them being beatable, but I do think they're fixable as well. And I think a couple of things here too in this game that hurt them. There was a lot of drops, especially in the first half. So that Allen 16 incompletions, maybe they should have been more like 12.
Yeah.
And then I think he can get better in terms of not taking as many sacks, throwing the ball away. And making better decisions. But when you just look at the pure eye test of, his arm strength, his ability to roll out and make throws, and there was a couple long ones that the receivers dropped, it's all there. It's all right in front of him. And one thing that I would do too, besides, have more design runs with Allen, I think that's very effective, and they're at their best, because he can take
RPO
one,
Barnes.
Yeah, he could take one for 70 yards on the field.
Run pass option.
I think the run was working well early, and then as the game transpired, as Miami got back in it, they went away from the runs, because I think James Cook and Devin Singletary looked pretty good when they got carries.
Yeah, true, they did, but I don't know.
So I just think you don't need to have 39 dropbacks. I think he could have 30 dropbacks and run the ball a little more and just make better decisions, because Diggs, Davis, even Shakir, who no one's ever heard of, did pretty well. Cole Beasley had a big drop, but also a touchdown, and then Knox has had like touchdowns in 7 straight games of the tight end possession. So a lot of weapons there, and we'll talk about the team they're playing in a second, but it's going to be a tough game against Cincinnati.
Real quick, before we jump to that game, dude, how about Miami, though, botching it at the end? Bad clock management. Who knows if they manage that a little bit better? If they tie it or they go to OT. Right. But I guess there was a miscommunication that
the whole game. It was the whole game.
Mike McDaniel was saying. Mike McDaniel said that they thought they had a first down, so they were deploying a group of players for the 1st and 10 call. And then obviously it wasn't first down.
It was fourth down or something, right? Yeah.
And that was the whole kind of miscommunication there. But I mean, like I said a second ago, who knows if they play that right? I mean, who knows? Maybe they go to OT.
Yeah, I wonder how
I don't know.
I mean, how do you have that miscommunication? Like, how do you think it's 4th or 1st and 10 and not 4th and 1? You see him vaping on the sideline though.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that? You think he was actually vaping?
McDaniel. I mean,
stop. Swear, dude.
No way.
It looked like it. I don't know. It was a quick video, but at the end of the day, did it affect the clock management? I don't think so. I think it was unexcusable.
I gotta see that
every
video.
Play,
dude. It's on Twitter.
Every play though can't be down to the last. And literally, they were snapping it 2 seconds after the screen said 0. And the fact too that in the second half, all their timeouts were to avoid a delay.
I feel like they had a couple delay game calls that were not called, Barnes.
No, that's what I'm saying. But also, it's not synced up with the stadium clock.
Poo on the referee.
But yeah, you got to do a better job of that. But of course, I mean, your first year head coach, 3rd string quarterback. And it's a shame because I think they lost 5 or 6 down the stretch, so it seemed like they were headed to a better spot. But obviously, the Tua injury changed everything. But we talk about being loaded; they're loaded with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle. So I think a bright future is ahead as long as Tua is going to be okay. And they said he's going to be the quarterback next year. They're not concerned. So he's just got to do a better job of staying out of harm's way, because a couple more hits, he's not going to be able to play.
Yeah, it's so sad.
And it is sad because he's talented. He's a good guy. So we hope that he recovers well from this.
You guys went to Jamaica together?
But let me tell you, I'm calling this right now. I kind of think, and I know they didn't play their best game either, but I kind of think the Bengals are going to beat the Bills this weekend.
I can see that. Yeah. I'm not like I have no like upheaval against that. Like I could easily see that. Like I just
think these little things, and I've noticed this all year, and it's really Allen with the turnovers. He can't turn the ball over. If they turn the ball over against the Bengals, they're definitely going to lose the game.
Yeah.
That's for sure in my eyes.
Good call.
The second game of the day, I know Matthew's been dying to talk about this one. We saw the New York Giants.
The G-Men.
31-24 over the Vikings. And they started out this game hot, scoring on their first 2 drives. And I will say, because especially you, Tony, from talking about the Giants week out week. I literally picked them to lose every week probably.
Yeah.
But you saw on Twitter before the game, I said I am expecting the Giants to win. And sure enough, they did. And I have to say, I'm impressed by the way that Daniel Jones played throughout this game. Really
Dude.
showing his development
He's
through
the
this
man.
year. I mean, he threw for
Coaching,
300. He didn't turn it over. He ran for 78 yards on the ground. Anytime he wanted to get a couple yards on the ground, he got it.
Yeah.
So I think that's impressive. And thinking about the guys that he's throwing to, Isaiah Hodgins had 8 receptions, 105 yards and a touchdown on a swollen ankle, which is just crazy.
Led the way, dude.
But he's working with him. He's working with Slayton. Saquon, had some bursts to his game, but they decided they wanted to run the ball more with Jones than they did Saquon. Saquon only had 9 carries in this game. Obviously, caught the ball in the backfield as well, and had the 2 rushing touchdowns. But offensively, they were very sound. Really did not struggle, and I think part of that, this Minnesota defense, I'm not impressed with. I think they were able to just get whatever they wanted. And on the other side of things, I mean, Kirk Cousins. I mean, you look at the numbers. 31 to 39, 273, 2 touchdowns. He was able to throw the ball. The one thing, though, that the Giants did well was limiting Justin Jefferson.
Yes, they took him out of the game,
receptions,
essentially.
47 yards. TJ Hawkinson, the midseason acquisition from the Lions, he had 10 for 129. But obviously, everyone points to 4th and 8 there at the end. They throw the ball short of the sticks. And, of course, it's the same narrative. Cousins in the playoffs, doesn't come up big. Which is true to an extent, but I think if they had a better defense, I think they'd be able to win this game. But at the end of the day, I mean, you have to give props to the Giants, give props to Dable. The job is outstanding, but I do have to say, I think the matchup was very helpful. I think this was probably the best case scenario. Facing a 13-win team.
Good matchup for the Giants.
As a 6th seed, I thought fundamentally going into this game, I just thought they were just so much more buttoned up than the Vikings were. So congratulations to them. And I'm just kind of curious your guys' thoughts on this one about the Giants' first playoff win in 11 years.
Well, I think if Daniel Jones isn't as efficient as he was, then they probably lose the game. Like if he was turning the ball over. But I mean, dude, it's just crazy to think that the beginning of the year, and even this time last year, no Giants fans wanted Daniel Jones.
You thought
back.
it was Zach Wilson?
Yeah, like they just thought he was beat. No contract extension. No talks of bringing him back, like quarterback of the future, like just done. And then they changed the regime, whole new coaching staff. Dable comes over from Buffalo. Joe Shane comes over from Buffalo, and I mean the turnaround of Jones, the reclamation, if you will, of Daniel Jones has just been ridiculous. I mean, talk about a complete 180, bro, in terms of play style, how to play, efficiency, all the things that make a good quarterback in the NFL. Daniel Jones has, or he certainly showed yesterday, and he's shown throughout the year that he has them. It was a coaching. It was all came down to coaching for him, clearly. As I guess more oftentimes than not, that's what it is. We just don't get an opportunity maybe to see it that often and that transparent. The Giants being right here in our own backyard. But dude, Saquon too, he did what he had to do yesterday. 9 carries, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then even receiving too. I mean, he had 5 receptions for 56 yards, dude. And so complete effort on offense, dude. Defense showed up too as well. Giants have a pretty solid defense. But yeah, and to your point, Barnes, I mean, who's Daniel Jones throwing to, dude? Isaiah Hodgins. I mean, not a big name, has 105 yards, a touchdown. Daniel Bellinger has the other touchdown. But dude, just a great game for the Giants, dude. Happy for them. Happy for New York football, dude, because it was all good. It was going well. Buffalo included, dude. We forget about Buffalo. Like Buffalo's like, the upstate team. The 2 New York City teams being the Giants and the Jets. Jets obviously let us down. Giants, were able to continue their success throughout the regular season, and then here we are getting the wild card victory over the Vikings. The Vikings, good year for them. Fugazi has been a word that's been attached to them throughout the whole year. Kind of makes sense, dude. They had, I think, 11 1-point victories or something like that, which they were like 11-0 in those games. So give them credit for that. But that 33 point deficit comeback against the Colts, albeit the Colts are a shit team. But yeah, man, good for the Giants. They did what they had to do. Daniel Jones did what he had to do for sure. So efficient, no turnovers, 24-35. And Giants crushed it, dude. I think the Eagles are in for it next week, to be honest. I think it's going to be a really close game.
Really?
I think the Giants pull it out, yeah. I really do.
But before we talk about that, I'm just curious, you, Tony, here. I mean, like I said, I always go to you because I feel like you really give us the true test because you're not impressed easily. Just not about how the season went, but just in regards to this game, were you impressed with the New York Giants?
With the Giants as a team, I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm obviously, I don't want to sound too repetitive. At the risk of sounding repetitive, Matthew, obviously Daniel Jones is your highlighted player here. You think of his progression. Matthew touched upon it a little bit. I mean, I didn't think he'd have a game like this where he was, being like, it was like 301 yards through the air,
2 touchdowns, didn't turn it over,
no
ran
turnovers,
for 78,
yeah.
Only the third quarterback in NFL history to have those numbers.
It's unbelievable numbers from him. You've seen him, his ability to run and pick up yardage on the ground, but to be successful, through the air and on the ground is just, phenomenal for the Giants. Obviously, a big reason why they won. I would say for me, I mean, Kirk Cousins didn't get sacked once, I don't think,
or a turnover,
or a turnover here.
You do that against Philly, you're gonna get blown out.
Yeah, you really are gonna get blown out. I mean, Hurts is gonna just roll right past you guys, or he's gonna have time and a half in the pocket, and he's gonna find somebody downfield. So I think there's definitely some stuff to work on defense here, but obviously you got to still be happy with the win. But I mean, Eagles coming up. I mean, I'm not too sure. It's like a surefire win here.
It's surefire. I mean, I am not even sure they really have a chance. Honestly, I'm telling you, this was the best matchup possible for the Giants. We've seen them struggle at times in the regular season, obviously having 7 losses and a tie. And I just think too, like the reason why they beat the Vikings is 2 reasons. Number one, like, you're talking about the Giants not getting sacks. I know Vikings had 3, but they didn't generate any turnovers. And just Daniel Jones was just able to do whatever he wants. And I just feel like the reason why they beat the Vikings is because, number one, their defense is not good. They don't apply enough pressure. But number 2, offensively, they're not clutch. Like in the beginning of the game, they can hum the ball down the field and get whatever they want. At end of game situations, I don't think the Vikings are very good. And I think that's where the Giants capitalized.
Yeah.
Obviously another disappointing end of the year for the Vikings, but Giants move on. And I know that they're pumped about that,
So you're saying no chance against the Eagles?
I don't think so.
I mean, didn't the Eagles lost to the Commanders, right? A few, right?
Yeah, for their first
loss.
First loss. Yep.
I mean, it's possible they can flub it against the Giants.
But I thought weren't you just saying that you didn't think they had a chance?
I said I don't think it's a surefire win.
Well, why would it be? They're the 6th seed. They're going against the number 1 seed. Why would it be a surefire win?
Because Matthew sounded like
I think the Giants
are going to surefire win.
I think the Giants are going to win.
And I think, listen, I get it. Anytime, when especially for fans of the team, your team wins a playoff game, and you think, what about another one? What about another one? I understand all of that, and it's a good story.
I think you're a hater.
But I think that everyone's getting a little carried away. That's it. I'm sorry. The Vikings weren't going to beat anybody in the playoffs as far as I'm concerned.
If it was the Jets, you think they would win?
I mean, like that question doesn't make any sense.
You didn't answer it, so
no, because they need to get better. But they're not in the playoffs. I said against a playoff team, Tony. So you're misconstruing here.
You're Mr. Irrelevant, dude.
But I do think, everybody's in you. You're comparing to these other teams. I'm sorry. I don't mean to
take it easy, Barnes.
Honestly, Brian.
Like Mary's saying.
I think everybody's just getting too excited, and also too, I just don't. I just feel like I don't know. I just get this sense, from listening to the radio, talking to you guys and stuff. Like, there's just something about. Oh, even if you're not a fan of the Giants, you have to be excited. And I can't get there personally. And what I would relate it to is Tony with the Rangers is not going to be excited about the Islanders making a run in the playoffs. No. It doesn't do anything for you. So it's the same thing for me. And I feel like that's just a normal feeling.
So I'll say this to that point. I think that football and the Jets and Giants are the only compatible teams that you could do that with. So like Rangers fans would never root for the Islanders or the Devils in playoffs because it's like for New York, whatever. It doesn't apply to that situation. The only situation that applies to is, I believe, with the Jets and Giants. Like if you're a Jet fan, myself, wish the Giants do well. There's no rivalry between the Jets and Giants. Zero. They've played no meaningful games against one another. The Jets always suck. Giants have a history, and that's it. And I'm tired of New York sports. We've been on the down a little bit for the past few years. Brian's on.
Because it doesn't. Because I just gave that analogy. It's the same thing. New York sports. They've been down. But you're gonna be excited the Mets win the World Series next year.
That's my point. That's my point. It's not. It's not.
You like one team.
It's not the same.
Make
it's not the same.
because they're from the same area, I have to like them. It's just not like that. It just isn't. They're a different team. And for me to be excited about the Giants would be false enthusiasm. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I can't get behind it.
You can certainly feel that way, but I don't think there's anything wrong with a Jets fan seeing one of the Giants do well.
Who are you excited for?
Because again, my point is that only applies to Jets and Giants. Like I'm never gonna root for the Mets. Tony knows that. It's no disrespect, but I'm never gonna do that. Never going to do that. That's a situation like in 2015 where it's like, oh, Golden Mets for New York. Like, no, never, never doing that.
So to answer Tony's question, I would say I'm just excited to see talented players step up in the big moment. And as far as the specific team that wins the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to see a good game. I want to see the best guys on the biggest stage. And that might be part of why I'm not excited about this, because I know the Giants going against the likes of really even the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Niners, the Eagles. I just think all those teams are in a different stratosphere. So it just doesn't do it for me, because I know, I get it. The backups came in. They played tough in Week 18. I'm sorry. I just think this is just a whole different litmus test. And because you beat the Vikings doesn't mean you're going to go into Philadelphia, which is a divisional opponent and is known to be a tough crowd. It's going to be a completely different game. And I think that's the thing that gets lost in translation here. That's the way that I look at it. Obviously we'll see. And for Giants fans out there, I understand you're happy. Why wouldn't you be? I mean, I could
see it going that way too, where the Eagles completely smack them around. But I just think that Giants have a little momentum, and then they're going to make it a lot closer than people think. And I'm picking them to win. I'm picking them to upset the Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
And obviously, too, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit, what makes these games exciting is being close, being down to the last possession.
Yeah.
Every single game this weekend, other than the first game, was down to the last possession. So can you beat that? You can't. So, we'll see what happens against the Eagles next week. But last game of the night, we saw the Bengals hang on 24-17, yet another game down to the final possession. And there was a chance there at the end for the Ravens on a Hail Mary.
Inches away.
Almost reminded me
fingertips.
of the Giants-Pats Super Bowl when Gronk could have caught that Hail Mary.
Yeah, dude.
But this game was nuts. And I have to give the Ravens credit. I know they lost the game, and I know the theme with Harbaugh lately, the playoffs, not getting the job done. But he's working with a backup quarterback. I thought Tyler Huntley played pretty well, 17-29, 2 touchdowns, had the 1 interception. But of course, the big mistake, when you're on a goal-to-go situation, trying to jump over, leave the ball out there, it gets, he fumbles it. The Cincinnati recovers it and takes it all the way, which was just insane. Sam Hubbard, the longest fumble return touchdown in NFL playoff history, 98 yards. The defensive lineman, little block at the end to help him out. But, I mean, for him to go all the way, that was the game-changing moment. That was the game-sealing touchdown. And the Bengals really needed it because they struggled, especially in the second half, moving the ball offensively. They trailed 10-9 at the half. Burrow, you're used to him having these huge games. He only threw for 200 yards. You look at, this was his third game against Baltimore. It was like 207, 205, 209, no huge games. So they kind of kept him in check. He was able to find Jamar Chase for that touchdown and 84 yards receiving. Running game was stymied, and I think they're going to need a good running game against Buffalo. I'm sure you could have bad weather. You never know with Buffalo, but Joe Mixon, 11 carries, 39 yards. T. Higgins was held in check, only 37 yards receiving. But I think what won this game, which when you think about the Bengals, you think about the offense, but what won this game for the Bengals was their defense. And the Ravens punched them in the mouth a couple times, but they were able to hang on. But I have to say, same situation with the Bills and the Dolphins. The Bengals are going to have to play a better football game next week. They're going to win and move the ball more effectively on the offensive side. I'm curious what you guys thought there, just in terms of, were you pretty surprised at home, crowd behind them, that they struggled so much offensively? And a team like the Ravens, which we all didn't give a shot going into this game.
Way closer than I thought, for sure. I thought the Bengals were going to smoke the Ravens, but no, man. I mean, it just really, that fumble on the goal line changed the whole game, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Changed the whole game. Dude, I mean, dude, and then a 98-yard return like that on a fumble, that was wild. But yeah, so I agree with you, Barnes. Defense definitely won Cincinnati the game. And the Ravens played well, dude. I mean, they were right there. They hung with them the whole time, came down to the end, and they could have, dude, it is very
game of interest,
reminding of that Gronkowski
similar
Mary,
situation,
bro.
Tony.
Like right there, right between the fingertips, Tony. And yeah, dude. So Bengals, have their work cut out for them next week, obviously against Buffalo. Should be a shootout. Looking forward to that game. It's gonna be great. But yeah, man. I mean, Bengals, they end coming up big on defense, and that's what propelled them to victory, dude.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting because I don't know, when I looked at this game and when I was watching this game a little bit, it was very reminiscent, honestly, of like the Buffalo Miami game. And I think it's kind of ironic that now Buffalo and Cincinnati are both gonna be playing each other in the next round, because I think it was just another instance of the Bengals overlooking the Ravens. The talk of the town is the Ravens trash. They can't finish games. They were losing games in the fourth quarter. Their offense was horrible. Their defense was kind of shoddy at times, So I think maybe Bengals came in here thinking they had the game in the bag. But, I think maybe, misreading the fact that it's the playoffs, anything really could happen. Any player at any given moment could really go off. And I think because of that, Joe Burrow didn't really have a game that he should have. I mean, when you look at his stat line, I mean, what was like 209 yards, 23 of 32. I mean, you think of, Joe Burrow, I mean, you throwing 300 yards, 3 touchdown passes.
Yards.
Like, he had 1 touchdown pass, So I just don't think he had the greatest game, just like, Josh Allen didn't have his greatest game either. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see both these teams match up against each other.
Yeah. Slugfest.
Yeah, I think it is going to end up being a slugfest. I think both quarterbacks, both teams realize they may have overlooked their teams in the first round, but now obviously know that, hey, next round we have a bigger dog to fight here. So I think it makes for some great football, and I'm happy the Bengals did advance because I don't think the Ravens deserve to. I think Joe Burrow certainly does. And with him talking about being a career Bengal too, I think it's pretty cool.
The window is his whole career.
And the thing is, we obviously had the whole DeMar Hamlin situation, so we didn't get to finish that game. So now we get to play that game. Everybody's looking forward to it. And I already alluded to this. I'm just kind of curious your guys' thoughts. I know it's tough and there's a while till the game here, but I think just from what I saw out of these teams in these 2 games, that the Bengals, I kind of feel like have the upper hand here just because they don't make as many mistakes as the Bills do. And I'm just curious what you guys think, in terms of this game. Who do you give the upper hand? Obviously, Bills with the home field advantage, but what do you think about this game coming up next week or this week?
Well, it's definitely going to come down to efficiency and who can take care of the ball better. So I know what you're saying, Barnes, and just based on what we saw this weekend, in terms of efficiency and taking care of the ball, I would give the edge to Cincinnati slightly. But not to say Buffalo is not capable of that themselves. Josh Allen is, top 3, top 5, depending on who you ask, quarterback in the NFL. He's just great, MVP candidate. And I think that they will be sure to make that a point of emphasis to take care of the football and to not really have any turnovers. And if they could do that, then I'm giving the advantage to Buffalo. But I just think Cincinnati has more of a knack on a week-to-week basis to take care of the ball and not make as many turnovers or cause as many turnovers by making stupid mistakes. So it's going to be interesting. Very interesting. Pretty good.
What do you think, Tony?
Honestly, I'm gonna say that I'll give the Bills some advantage. Wow. I think Josh Allen's gonna have a real bounce back game in terms of protecting his ball and of limiting his turnovers. And I think the Bills can maybe take advantage a little bit of their running game as well with Singletary. And I also think, I understand the Bengals have like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But I just think that the Bills, I think, have more options at the wide receivers. Obviously Diggs and Gabe Davis had that other game, right? The other good game, right? He had over 100 receiving yards as well. I feel like, again, if they start mixing in like a good running game and then throwing some passes, I think the Bills, honestly would take this game pretty easily.
And my whole thing is, I think at their best, nobody can beat the Bills. But I'm not confident that they're not going to make some mistakes. So that's why I lean the Bengals. But obviously, with the talent, with Allen, with that home field advantage, it's not going to be a shock if they win the game. So I think we'll get a great game. So I'm really looking forward to that. But what a weekend it's been, and we have one more game left here.
Uno Mas.
Between the Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Tommy, another playoff start here.
Hey, Betty.
Hosting the Dallas Cowboys despite that 8-9 regular season record.
So funny
for the
how
Bucs.
football works, dude.
That they have to do it because they want to incentivize, winning the division, of course. So this game, in terms of the odd makers, is expected to be a tight game. Dallas 2.5-point favorites. They were 12-5 this year. We saw them, have some inconsistencies down the stretch, specifically with Dak Prescott. The interceptions, after missing a few games, still amongst the league leaders in interceptions. So that's concerning. Just the fact that the big spot, is he going to throw a pick? But, that being said, they got some talented running backs there. Tony Pollard had his first career 1,000-yard rushing season. Zeke, in terms of a goal line runner, one of the best in the league, not so much in terms of explosiveness anymore. We know about their defense, but it's just that game against Washington wasn't pretty. So that kind of, makes you feel like, well, Tampa, terrible start. They rally to win the division. It feels like momentum's on their side. You think about the Cowboys' history. And you think about Brady's history, stepping up in the big moment. But I just saw Tampa perform so poorly in so many different spots this year, struggling offensively, even though they have Godwin, they have Evans. Obviously, they have Brady, they have Fournette. Rashad White should be pretty good. I think it's the offensive line hasn't helped, besides, Brady maybe, being a step slow. So this one really, has me confused, and I'll wait to say kind of my prediction here, but I'd like to go with you guys first in terms of what do you think we're going to see tonight, between the Cowboys and the Bucs?
First of all, there's no doubt in my mind that Dallas is losing tonight. They're definitely going to lose. Dude, 100%. That's the one thing I do know. Tight game, defensive struggle. Barnes, like you were saying, Tampa Bay hasn't looked that great on offense, dude. Brady for the first time ever looks his age. It could be, everything, get divorced. It's this, it's that, weighing on the mind a little bit. But I mean, not the Tom Brady that we've seen over the last 22 years. So that being said, but Dallas, dude, I cannot believe how shitty they looked last week against Washington, bro. Like, you're kidding me, dude.
The picks.
You're kidding me.
You can't throw picks.
So,
you throw 2 picks.
Defensive struggle, dude. It's not going to be a high-scoring game. Brady's going to come through in the clutch. Final score, 20-17, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay wins. Game, time expiring, field goal. Brady leads them down, gets them field goal range, time expiring field goal. 2017, Tampa, going with the under. Over-under is 45.5. I think that's a little too high. A little too high.
That's too high.
Just a little bit too high.
I did just notice that it does seem high. And before we get to Tony's pick, I just want to remind everybody they did play week one on Sunday Night Football.
Tampa Bay won.
Dak with the injury. Tampa Bay won 19-3. Obviously, we're months later here with this matchup. But all of that being said, based on everything we said, based on what you've seen, Tony, what are you expecting to see tonight?
It seems to be the narrative of a lot of people, honestly, which is kind of a shame. But I don't know. I've been saying it, I think, for a while now that Dallas first round of the playoffs just can't perform.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
I mean, they might as
it
well
literally
trade
is,
Cousins for
dude.
Prescott.
And I just think, like Brady with all the experience, like I don't care how bad this team was during the season, like they were still able to make it into the playoffs. And I think, just like how it's a good matchup for the Giants to play the Vikings, I don't think the Bucs could ask for a better matchup playing the Cowboys, a team that hasn't gotten past this first round. Dak never has, like Romo didn't. Absolutely crazy. And of course, it's also another case where you're seeing the Cowboys kind of having a couple bad games at the end of the season as well. Dak is high on the interceptions here in the league. Although Brady has been turning the ball over more as well. I just think that Brady's going to find a way. And if there was ever a team to find a way against, it would be the Cowboys. So I think give me Brady here. And honestly, somewhat of a blowout here. I would say, I don't know, 27-10.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So sticking
so,
with the under.
So yeah. I think we all can agree.
45.5, too much, Barnes,
yeah,
right?
that is a
with
lot,
teams
dude.
that struggle
Way,
to score.
dude. Yeah,
I don't know. It just seems like a game that could be 10-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
So this one is so tough for me because I really watch these games closely. I see how teams perform throughout the season, and I understand the rough finish against Washington there, but overall, I mean, Dallas has had a strong season, stronger in the beginning of the year, and I know that other than the Dak, with the tendency to throw the pick, other than that, I mean, they're so sound in all the other areas of their football team. But unfortunately, we know the quarterback has, one of the biggest, or if the biggest impact on the entire game. So I just, despite knowing that Tampa Bay really is not a good football team, they struggle to move the ball. It's so tough to take them, but I just think the big moment, and it just seems like a game too where Dallas will have that early lead, and it's just like we saw. I think it was Monday Night Football this year. Maybe the Saints, where Brady leading the team down the field, that last drive, clock expiring. I think it's going to be the same thing. So I think Dallas will, like I said, let's say 10-3 lead at half. Tampa Bay midway through the third, still with those 3 points. They'll let up a field goal. It'll be 13-3. But they will score 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to win this one 17-13. So yet another playoff win for Brady, and another
shekels up there could be a nice payday.
We should put a couple shekels on it.
Disappointment for the Cowboys, and could be Coach Mike McCarthy's last game at the helm.
I'm surprised, honestly, at you.
No,
Brian.
I'm not surprised because Jerry Jones, bro, needs it.
But
now.
I told you it's tough, Tony.
Even though they have a great, they've been playing great ever since.
Their defense is great. Their running game is great. But what's up with Dak though? I mean, what do you think it is, Tony?
I don't know, dude. You think it's pressure?
I think he chokes.
Because I mean, I think it does come to pressure. I mean, obviously, Cowboys, I think have Dallas Cowboys have a similar fan base, I would say, to like a New York market, honestly, where it's high pressure, low patience, especially with them now, and I think it's just that mindset of trying to get over the hump of that first round of the playoffs, seemingly. And I just think, I guess the pressures kind of get to him, I guess.
I think you nailed it,
Tony.
Tony.
That's what it is, dude. Oh, thank you, man.
But let me tell you, if not that I'm expecting it, but if the Cowboys do want to win this game, what I would recommend doing would be sending the house every play on defense and letting, your guys that are talented like Diggs and man coverage and, we know what Micah Parsons does, and then just literally running it down their throat. Don't let Dak mess it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want to win this game, you got to rush for 200 yards.
I think Tony Pollard is going to be a big key to victory if the Cowboys are going to win. I think he's a little bit more explosive than Zeke. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
100%. Can bust one off for a big run.
Yeah.
Home run hitter-esque. You know what I mean?
Can
Shows
catch the ball
flashes
out
of
the
that.
backfield as well.
Absolutely. So if Dallas, if they do have any shot of winning, I think that you're going to see the running game be the main kind of contributing factor to their victory if they do so happen to win and pull away from Tampa. But I just don't see it. I don't see Dak like just all of a sudden flipping the switch and not turning the ball over, not making stupid decisions with it. And I just think that Brady's going to find a way, like he's done time and time again. Greatest of all time for a reason. Plenty of come from behind victories, improbable victories. Just thinking back to when he was on the Pats, the 25-3 comeback in that Super Bowl. But years later too, he's still here, still capable of getting it done. And I think Tampa Bay's defense as well will come up big, especially, and take advantage too. If Dak is gonna throw the ball more often than not, then that leaves Dallas very susceptible to mistakes, and Dak, throwing interceptions and not making the right read. So, dude, Dallas is 100% losing this game. I can't see it any other way.
And I can't see it any other way where they're going to have the lead too. Because I think Tampa starts slow. You know what I mean? We all just envision that drive at the end of the game.
Yep. I see it now. I'm picturing it right now.
But, as the other games were, we hope that it's a close, competitive, and entertaining game, and we'll see what happens. And obviously, the winner of this one gets the reward of traveling to Santa Clara to take on the Niners. So tall task ahead, but you got to, worry about what's right in front of you. And that's this game tonight. So we will see.
Apparently there's going to be lasagna on Sunday, Anthony.
That's what I'm hearing too. My mom says
Do
lasagna.
you want cheesecake? Is that even a serious question though?
Are we all having lasagna on Sunday?
I would love some cheesecake, Mom. No, I am going home next weekend as part of my Christmas gift to my mother. It was I'll come home for any weekend of your choice and spend some time with you.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice.
What a good son.
Son of the year.
Son right there.
Son of the year.
Stop it.
Good son right there.
Good stuff. But let's go now to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal! My goodness, this is a great shot. Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan's skull. Oh my goodness. That's the drop right back. Terrified and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliance from Igor Shesterkin. It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime. All right. So a tough loss for the New York Rangers yesterday, 2-1 at home to the Canadiens. And for me, and I know the two things are separate, but it really took away from that great win against Dallas on Thursday. That Keandre Miller goal, but in the last second of regulation before the Fox game winner. And I just feel like at the end of the day, I know long season and maybe Louis riled up, back at the Garden, all of that. But with Shesterkin in net, playing a team like the Canadiens that struggled mightily all season, I just don't think there's an excuse for having no offense and losing to a team like that. And as we always do, I love starting with Tony here, and you just give it to me straight. Your instant reaction here. And do I have a point that at the end of the day, we could point to anything, but there's no excuse for losing this game to the Canadiens?
Yeah, dude. So I guess Brian is right. I mean, there's no excuse losing to a team like the Canadiens, who we've beaten before this season already, obviously. Right. In the Garden too, I think. But nonetheless here, I mean, I guess looking at the Canadian side of their game, their goaltender Sam Montembeault, I believe it is, young dude, 26, out of Canada, out of Quebec, actually, it looks like
Quebec.
Having what was basically, I mean, a game of his career. 38 saves on 39 shot attempts here. Obviously, only giving up that one goal, a 974 save percentage, and he was making some phenomenal saves. And he was a big reason why the Canadiens were kept in this game, honestly. Because, when you think about it, he was at Montembeault. I
think it's
Montembeault.
Yeah.
Montembeault, dude, a little French-Canadian guy. You look at his previous games. I mean, most recently he did, let up 2 goals against the Islanders. But before that, he's let up like 4 against Nashville, 4 against Dallas, 4 against Edmonton, 4 against Seattle. And it's like, he really isn't a phenomenal goaltender, but obviously he stepped up hugely against the Rangers here. And another guy who stepped up hugely for the Canadiens is Doc. Kirby Doc. He's 21 years old. He's 6'4", almost 200 pounds. He's a big body. He was certainly a force in front of the net. He had plenty of attempts to score, and he did find the back of the net once. Obviously, which happened to be the game-winning goal. So he was someone that, I think that the Rangers kind of overlooked in terms of their ability and what his presence could be in front of the net. The Rangers did a real shit job in playing defense, that's for sure, because it seemed like the Canadiens had, obviously a lot of chances, and a lot of time of possession is what they had as well. But I guess it is kind of tough in terms of the Rangers' perspective, because you talk about big buys in front of the net. Their man Chris Kreider was not playing yesterday, and on top of that, a few guys were sick. A few guys were playing through sickness. There is, I think, the flu going around the locker room, they were saying, and everything. So you had these guys kind of, I guess, trying to kind of strap up and just play this game against the Canadiens. And obviously, you didn't have a lot of production out of anyone. You had one goal from Artemi Panarin, Hedl on the assist there, and Keandre Miller. But other than that, I mean,
Embarrassing.
It really is, dude. Hedl had 2 shots. Kakko had 2 shots. Kravtsov had 1 shot. Trocheck had 1 shot. VC 2 shots. Zibanejad, he had 5 shots. Panarin had 7 shots on goal with that. With the goal too. But like your forwards are just not getting. And Sammy Blais, no shots. Brodzinski, 1 shot. Goudreau, no shots on net. Lafreniere, no shots. Like no shots on goal here.
And this is before the game when Gallant says, "Oh, you guys are obsessed with Lafayette. I hope he has 2 goals tonight."
Yeah,
nice.
Jinx, Eddie Mush over there, dude, is what I
say.
Eddie Mush. But obviously, a game where you play some shit defense, you let a couple guys on the Canadiens who are a team that is beneath you
overlook.
Yeah, I think overlook, and of course, the Rangers struggling with some illness and some injuries and stuff like that. It's tough. I mean, obviously, it's not a recipe that's conducive to winning. And of course, when you get a team like the Canadiens, who it is Marty St. Louis, they do have a great coach.
Marty.
Cole Caulfield is really good. Suzuki is really good. They have some talent. Like I said, they had a good night from their goaltender, a good night from Doc, and 2-1 victory. So,
but I think we all can agree, no excuse. Disappointing. Obviously, you have to move forward.
I had this Rangers beanie. I don't even know why I wore it.
Hey, maybe for their game today.
Maybe because you're a fan.
Embarrassing, dude.
But I'm kind of curious, Matthew.
A
loss like this. I mean, I know it's a long season, and a team like Montreal is not even be in the playoffs. But do you think it means anything moving forward, or it just means that you got to sharpen up on a couple things? I mean, what do you think about the Rangers just overall? I mean, do you feel like they're in a good spot despite this setback?
Yeah, dude, definitely. They're gonna be fine. Tough game, dude. It does take away, bro. That game on Friday was nuts. Scoring with Tony, I was thinking of you too, obviously, that with 0.9 left and then winning in OT.
I know,
completely
dude.
insane.
They had a great rush towards the end.
Snatching a victory out of the jaws of defeat, dude.
Yeah.
And then
so this last night obviously takes away a little bit of that weekend luster from that game. But overall, dude, 24, 13, and 7. Pretty solid record, dude. Just let me see, where are we in the standings here?
Sixth?
Third.
No, third in the
Metropolitan. Yes, third in the Metropolitan, the 6th seed in the East. So the Devils obviously in ahead of us here by a little bit, and then the Hurricanes as well, having another good season. So I mean, not terribly disappointed with how things have gone this year. Tough start, then they rebound from a tough start. They're going on a nice 7 in a row. When the Knicks were winning 7 in a row, remember a few weeks back.
Wow, it's so sick, dude. The Knicks.
That was fun. NBA, dude. So overall happy with the Rangers, dude. They do have some tough losses, which make it like sting a little bit, and it's like damn. But hopefully they have to bounce back tonight, dude, when they play Columbus, dude, because Columbus sucks ass.
Columbus does suck ass.
They need to win tonight. I think they will. But yeah, tough loss yesterday, and They just seem to have these games every now and then, dude, where like they lose games that they should definitely win.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
And it's
You're not
like we
wrong.
know you can't do that in the playoffs. So you just hope that's a learning experience. You hope that you're getting the bad ones out of the way. Obviously, you feel good about how Shesterkin's playing of recent. So that's a good thing. But I hate to ask this question, Tony, but tonight's game, Columbus, Gaudreau, all of that back to back, Halak in net. Rangers minus 190 on the money line, but are you a little concerned that they could potentially slip up in this one as well? Backup goalie,
No,
team play with nothing to,
not
nothing
any
to
concern
lose.
at all, dude.
Halak.
No concern.
What about Gaudreau though?
What about Gaudreau?
I'm saying, what if he, has 3 goals?
He won't. Johnny, no.
So what are you expecting to see tonight?
Honestly, tonight.
7:00.
I'm expecting to
Wanna
see. Dude, I would.
Oh, it's not
at
MSG, it's in
MSG.
Columbus.
Yeah.
My mistake.
7:00 on the
Nationwide
MSG network, dude.
Arena.
Yeah. I'll go to Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, let's drive there.
You want to go to Cleveland?
That'd be foolish if we wouldn't make it for the game, Brian.
What do you think, Halak?
What was I saying? Okay, Halak start. That's totally fine. He's been doing it well.
Is it going to
dude.
be another game where he doesn't have to do much? Because it seems like every time he starts, it's 17 saves, it's
Well,
18 saves.
I mean, against
it's 21
Columbus, it's very
saves.
possible. He may have to, fend off some shots from Johnny over there. But I think honestly tonight, I think you get a big step up from Keandre Miller. I think you're gonna find a lot of defense converting to offense and converting pretty quickly. I think you're gonna see a lot of slap shots from the point, i.e., Keandre Miller, Adam Fox. And I think you're gonna see some of the younger, forwards kind of get in the mix here. Hedel, Kako, maybe even one of our own Gaudreaus, dude, getting in there as well, getting some physicality. Barclay Gaudreau, a very physical player. I would expect to see him, kind of rustle some feathers here. And I think Columbus, other than Gaudreau, they're Johnny Gaudreau. Give me a break here, dude. They're really not a great team. The fact that we're favorited in their home arena, I think says a lot. We're minus 190, the Rangers are right now. So I just think the Rangers come in here. There's still more than enough talent without Kreider and whoever to make adjustments to come in here and be a team in Columbus, who arguably worse than the Canadiens.
Yeah,
if you ask
yeah.
me.
And honestly, for me, and I understand it's not about margin of victory. It's about just checking off wins. But I'm going to be a little disappointed if this is like a 2-1 overtime win. I want to see 6-1. Let's see an offensive explosion. Let's see the defense step up. Let's see Halak, have a good game. And maybe he's called on more to make some saves and just do it. At the end of the day, I just don't think there's any excuses.
Need like a 4-0 victory tonight.
Is that what you're anticipating, Matthew?
Yeah. Big bounce back.
Halak with a shutout, dude. Let's go.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. There's no reason not. There's no reason to
No reason to
have
not
that
do that.
result.
Yes.
Let's go.
No reason. Let's go. What?
Let's go Rangers.
Yeah.
Rangers and Giants.
Tomorrow. Let's get back to the picks, Tony. A little up against it here. But that being said, I've really enjoyed today. Missed everyone when I was gone. Great to be back. Great to have Matthew in studio. We don't get this every day.
Yeah, I gotta say too. Like I said in the beginning, but couldn't think of a better way to end my break before starting up the new semester tomorrow. Just pumped to be here. This is dope, bro. I love being able to do this with you guys. When I know it's too and far between, but I mean, it's all good, bro. It's special every time we do it.
Hell
Special
yeah.
every
It's special,
time.
obviously, when I'm
Your
not here.
seat's always
Special.
there.
Special.
It's always
He's
there.
always
Dude.
there
Here in
for you.
spirit, like Michael, you know what I mean? Michael alluded to it earlier. Here in spirit, always here in spirit. But dude, I mean, it was great, bro. Last night too, just to throw it back real quick. Barnes, Mike, and I hopped on the quick
Yeah, that was dope,
Giants
dude.
recap, dude. It was
Dude,
dope.
that was
Had
so
a good time.
awesome.
Really, I think honestly just carried into today.
Yeah.
Set the tone for
Set
today.
the tone.
Loved it, dude.
Oh, set the tone, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm just pumped, dude.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good time, bro.
Very
You know what I
special.
mean? It's a new year.
Special time.
Yeah.
It's a special time.
It's like Barnes's massages, dude.
Right. Special time, dude. Couples massage in Jamaica.
We went separate, but I mean, what's the difference, really?
That's a big
it's a
difference.
massage is a massage. But I don't know why Tony needs to bring that one up. But anyway,
This is Tony, dude. Tony, you better straighten it out with your mother because she thinks
I
that
know,
this
did
weekend
you see
doesn't
that?
count for her to pick.
That's crazy, dude.
I have
No, it's
confidence.
not crazy.
Getting bamboozled over here now.
I have confidence that Tony will
I
be
think you
able
should do the right
to
thing by your mother.
sort that one out. But that being said, what a day, what a show.
Yeah,
Really
what a life.
appreciate everybody tuning in, Matt joining
How's your
us,
life?
and everybody continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. Checking out the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee in costume. We want everybody to go to downtimetv.com, check out some merch.
Get some merch.
Let's
dude.
go Rangers, get the job done, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.